Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yvonne Maria Jimenez, the President and CEO of Neighborhood Legal Services of Los Angeles County. It's my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Isela Gracian. Isela serves as Senior Deputy for Housing and Homelessness for Los Angeles County Supervisor Holly Mitchell. She leads Supervisor Mitchell's housing, homelessness, and planning policy. Isela straightens the office of Holly Mitchell because of her more than 16 years of experience in grassroots community work. Previously, Isela worked for the East LA Community Corporation, a social and economic justice community development organization. She served there as Community Organizing Director, Vice President of Operations, and eventually their president. During her time there, she led policy campaigns, community wealth programs, and advocated for development of affordable housing. Isela Gracian is a mover and shaker, a significant contributor to change for the good in Los Angeles County. Please help me welcome Isela Gracian.
Thank you, Yvonne, and thank you all for having me. We at the County Board, we have actually our Board of Supervisors meeting tomorrow, and Supervisor Mitchell was invited to come, and she couldn't come today because we're prepping for that, but I felt it was really important for us to be here with you all. So I will probably dip out at some point, so excuse me for that to get back to the board meeting. I want to start off by thanking all of you. Right? The work that every one of you does for the people of Los Angeles and across the country is really important and critical. Just this weekend, on Saturday, I got a text from one of my colleagues, and she's like, apologies that I'm reaching you out on your personal cell phone, but my neighbor just sent me this notice that they have, and it was a notice to vacate. Right? It was already on the sheriff's, signed by the sheriff, and she's like, what can they do? And it was one of those moments that I was like, man, if only we had gotten if they had talked to you when they got the first notification, right? And I sent them the information. I was like, and just talk to them and have them be prepared just in case. It doesn't mean that they're gonna come on this date, but just in case, right? And unfortunately, that's one too many stories like that our office gets from people that are facing eviction or harassment, whether they're tenants. We also get calls about people who are homeowners at the risk of losing their home through foreclosure or probate, or a whole range of issues that Supervisor Mitchell represents the 2nd District, with the heart of our district is South Los Angeles. We're one of the most diverse districts in the county. And we also are home to the communities and neighborhoods that have historically been locked out of access to capital and resources. And that is at the heart of the work that we do and that she does, and why I joined her team. And when I joined her team, I took a really deep dive around the homelessness issue, because I come out of housing and tenant protections. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised at how much the county was doing around the homelessness services. And it was disheartening to learn that we can't see that it is working because we have not been able to get above the line the prevention, the preservation, and the production. Right? LAHSA, the Los Angeles Housing Services Authority, their focus is once somebody's already unhoused. Okay? And in order for the people who are unhoused to solve their homelessness, they have to be housed. And I also didn't realize how polemic that statement was and how much of a challenge. When I told people, I was like, homes solve homelessness, how many people challenge that notion? Right? That if you're unhoused and you get a home, you no longer are homeless. And I literally have people arguing with me on that point. But the reality is that we will not see the homelessness services functioning if we don't focus on prevention and if we don't focus on preservation and production. As Antonia mentioned, that is such a focal point because it's almost like, even if we just focus on building, it's like trying to fill a bucket of water with holes in it, right? If we don't focus on the preservation, so existing housing, improving it, having it be quality, and the prevention, we're always going to be not having enough on the housing and for people. So for Supervisor Mitchell, we've really been focused in on those three areas. You know, she authored the motion to have Stay Housed LA be a permanent program and have a right to counsel here at LA County. And really with the longer term vision of universal access across all of the different issues, she really believes, and our team believes, that every resident of LA County deserves to have access to legal services and representation across all the different issue areas that our constituents face. We've also been really working hard on the Los Angeles County Housing Solutions Agency, La Casa, which is a brand new agency, and definitely a interesting challenge for our team on supporting the formation of a new agency and trying to bring in the learnings of collaboration. It's to my knowledge, the first agency that has non-elected officials as voting members of the body, and Almas is one of them, so you'll be hearing from her in a bit. And it's focused on that piece, preservation, prevention, and production. And a missing piece is still the funding. So voters here will have an opportunity to vote for that hopefully soon. And the other area that we've been really focused in on is habitability. Supervisor Mitchell also co-authored around rent habitability and having LA County establish a systematic code enforcement program. So we have a lot of work around this area that we're advancing. I think there's one other piece that I want to touch on, because there's a lot of work that's going on. But as Antonia mentioned, completely agree, we need all the different strategies around housing, around all the different areas. But for me, in reality, it's not rocket science. We know what works, and we need to be able to get to scale. And when it comes to our housing system, right, housing is the superficial system of our economic system. And what's the biggest challenge is transforming how we view and look and engage with land and real estate. Right? And until we can really push and advance the notion of looking at housing as a stability, right? Housing as a human right, and not as a wealth generation and as a wealth creation, we will continue to have this challenge. Because the funding and the cost, I am not a fan of focusing on how much the housing costs. And the reason why I'm not a fan of that is because it is three core areas, right? Land, labor, and material. And in order to be able to reduce those costs, most people focus on making it cheaper. And in our communities, in the communities at the heart of the district, in the communities that I come from, that I identify with, we do not need cheaper. We need dignified and high quality and housing and development that connects us and that honors the humanity of people. So although it's important to be effective and efficient in this capacity as government, representing government, it is equally as important to center that this is for people, right? And that is the biggest challenge that we face, and I am very honored and privileged to work for an elected official, for Supervisor Holly Mitchell, that gets that understands that has built a team around that. And every time we're putting our work forward, that is the biggest challenge that we confront. Being able to change the status quo that really shifts and transforms the systems. And legal support is one of those components. Access to representation, another area that I would have never imagined would have so much challenge from people to be able to support, but it's such a critical component. So at the LA County Board of Supervisors, we are focused on the whole spectrum, and we are really, our office is working on that piece of getting above the line the protection piece, the preservation for people who are housed, keeping them housed in quality, dignified housing that they can afford to their income levels. So with that, I'm going to just move to close. Thank you again. Just thank you for those of you that we work more closely with, for picking up the phone, for calling for those representations, because it matters. It changes lives. And I know that sometimes I don't feel that in my work, and I imagine that some moments you all don't feel that in your work. But the calls, the being able to connect people and keep people housed is really critical and important and transformative work. So I just appreciate the work of every single one of you and all of your organizations, and thank you for having us, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the panel.